I paid my parents $600 a week for a year. Then they took a family vacation with my sister and didn't invite me. When I confronted them, my dad didn't even blink. We didn't want you there. It started when my dad got laid off and my mom called crying about bills and the mortgage. I wasn't loaded, but I couldn't watch them drown. I set up an automatic transfer and told myself this was what a good son did. The problem was, it stopped feeling like help and started feeling like an expectation. Every week came a new push. Things are tight. Could you send a bit extra? If I hesitated, my mom got quiet and wounded. My dad would add, family helps family, and I'd end up hitting send. They didn't say thank you like it mattered. They said it like it was due. Meanwhile, my sister Lena was the household saint. She married a guy with money, and my parents acted like she'd invented wealth. Jake, learn from her smart choices, my mom would say, while I stood there biting my tongue. Lena didn't choose smart. She chose rich, and they loved her for it. 3 days before I found out the truth, I invited my parents over for a basic cookout. My mom sighed and said they were not feeling well and didn't want to get me sick. Then she added almost casually, if you could help with some medicine, things have been tight. I sent $200 and she texted back, we'll pay you back. The next day, my neighbor called and said, I fed your folks fish while they were gone. Gone where? Their trip. They left 6 days ago with your sister and her husband. I just sat there, staring at my wall, realizing they'd lied to my face while they were already on vacation, then still took my money. I waited one night so I wouldn't explode. The next evening, I drove over. Their place looked like a postcard. Suitcase by the stairs, flowers on the table, that smug little glow people have after spending other people's money. My mom opened the door like nothing happened and chirped, oh, hi, honey. I asked, so, how was the trip? My mom's smile twitched. What trip? I said, the one with Lena, the one you pretended didn't exist. My dad stayed in the kitchen, clanking dishes like a coward. My mom crossed her arms and said, we don't have to tell you everything. So I went slow. First, I pulled out my phone and unlocked it. Next, I opened my banking app with shaking hands. Then, I turned the screen toward them, nice and clear. After that, I found the weekly transfer and hit cancel. My mom's face drained, like someone unplugged her. My dad stepped closer and snapped, watch your tone. I said, I paid for your beach cocktails and your lies. He shrugged and said, you're jealous we didn't invite you. I stared at him and said, no, I'm done being your ATM. I walked out and drove home on pure adrenaline. My girlfriend Maya took one look at me and didn't ask for details. I just said, I'm done funding them, and she nodded like this was overdue. The next morning, my phone turned into a siren. Calls, texts, voicemails, nonstop. By noon, Lena showed up at my door with my parents behind her, like she was leading a parade of entitlement. Lena smirked and said, just turn the payments back on and stop being dramatic. I said, you can pay them. My dad snapped, we don't want your money, while standing there asking for it. Maya stepped beside me and said, he's done being used. My mom tried the shaky voice routine. We struggled, Jake. I said, you struggled so hard you needed medicine money on a beach? Nobody had an answer. They just stared like I'd broken the script. After they left, my mom called to lecture me about family. My dad told me I needed to control my girlfriend's attitude. I said, control your daughter. I'm not your bank anymore. Then I hung up. A few days later, my neighbor caught me outside and grinned. Apparently, my parents told Lena it was her turn to help now. Lena screamed she wasn't their ATM, while my parents cried and ranted. And Lena, the golden child herself, finally said the quiet part out loud. You don't care about family. You care about who you can squeeze. Then she stormed off, leaving them with nothing but their own choices. A week after that, I got a text from an unknown number. It's Dad. Call me. It's important. I called, and he sighed like I owed him patience. Lena's husband was divorcing her and kicked her out. She'd moved back in with them. She wants to talk, he said. I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Light. No guilt. No panic. No weekly drain pretending to be love. I said, they wanted a golden child. Now they can keep her, and hung up.